Our journey begins with the humble roots of a people. Long before the Romans, France was inhabited by Celtic tribes known as Gauls. These independent peoples laid the foundation of the French nation. Their story is one of resilience and adaptation. Julius Caesar's arrival marked a turning point in Gaul's history. The Roman conquest was marked by fierce resistance. Over time, Roman influence permeated Gallic society. The Romanization of Gaul resulted in Gallo-Roman civilization. Cities flourished and Gaul became part of the Roman Empire. The seeds of French identity were sown during this transformation. A new chapter began with the rise of the Frankish kingdom. Here, we witness the emergence of a distinct French identity. Would shape France's destiny. Was not absolute. The Carolingian empire, however, fragmented after his death. As Europe emerged from the tumultuous medieval period, a new spirit of inquiry and creativity began to sweep across the continent. This was the Renaissance, a period of profound intellectual and artistic transformation that marked a decisive break from the constraints of the past. From the sun-drenched cities of Italy, this cultural awakening spread northwards, taking root in France and igniting a flame of innovation that would illuminate the world. France, strategically positioned at the crossroads of trade and cultural exchange, embraced the Renaissance spirit with open arms. The French monarchy, eager to consolidate its power and enhance its prestige, became generous patrons of the arts and sciences. Royal courts transformed into vibrant centers of learning, attracting scholars, artists, and thinkers from across Europe. The Renaissance in France found its expression in a flowering of artistic, literary, and architectural achievements. The imposing medieval castles of old gave way to elegant chateaux adorned with intricate carvings and graceful facades. Painters like Jean Clouet and Jean Fouquet broke away from the rigid conventions of medieval art, embracing realism and human emotion in their portraits and religious scenes. Writers like François Rabelais and Michel de Montaigne challenged established norms with their humanist perspectives and explorations of the human condition. The spirit of inquiry that defined the Renaissance paved the way for the Enlightenment, an era that placed reason, logic, and individual liberty at the forefront of human thought. France, with its rich intellectual tradition and vibrant public sphere, became a crucible for Enlightenment ideas, a battleground for the minds of men and women who dared to question the very foundations of authority. Philosophes, the intellectual giants of the Enlightenment, used reason as their weapon of choice, challenging traditional hierarchies, religious dogma, and absolute monarchy. They believed in the power of human reason to illuminate the world, to expose injustice, and to pave the path towards a more just and equitable society. Their ideas, disseminated through salons, pamphlets, and clandestine gatherings, ignited a firestorm of debate and dissent that would have profound consequences for France and the world. Voltaire, a towering figure of the French Enlightenment, championed freedom of speech and religious tolerance. His sharp wit and relentless criticism aimed at the abuses of power he witnessed around him. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a passionate advocate for individual liberty and social equality, explored the nature of government and the rights of citizens, his ideas laying the groundwork for modern democratic thought. Montesquieu, a keen observer of political systems, advocated for the separation of powers, his theories influencing the framers of the United States Constitution. The Enlightenment was not merely an intellectual exercise confined to the salons of Paris. Its ideas seeped into French society, planting the seeds of revolution. The monarchy, blinded by extravagance, faced growing discontent. France was teetering on the brink. Economic inequality and poor harvests created resentment. Inspired by liberty and equality, the people grew disillusioned. The storming of the Bastille marked a turning point. This act of defiance unleashed revolutionary fervor. The French Revolution had begun. Enlightenment ideas ignited the flames of rebellion. Armed with ideals, the French challenged the monarchy. The world watched as France's future hung in the balance. The storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789 marked a point of no return. What began as a protest against oppressive taxes and food shortages rapidly escalated into a full-blown revolution. The fall of the Bastille unleashed a wave of popular fury that swept across Paris and the countryside. France was transformed into a cauldron of revolutionary fervor. The streets of Paris echoed with debate, radical pamphlets, and the tocsin of church bells. In the countryside, peasants rose up, burning manor houses and demanding an end to exploitation. The National Assembly declared an end to the absolute monarchy and proclaimed popular sovereignty. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen enshrined liberty, equality, and fraternity. These were heady days, a time of great hope and terrifying uncertainty. The revolution was far from a unified movement. Within the National Assembly, factions emerged, each with its own vision for France's position. The Girondins favored a constitutional monarchy and gradual reforms. The Montagnards, led by Robespierre, advocated for a republic and radical changes. The struggle for power between these factions plunged France into unparalleled violence and terror. The French Revolution, founded on ideals of liberty and equality, soon descended into a dark and bloody chapter, the Reign of Terror. The radical Jacobins, led by Robespierre, seized control and unleashed a wave of repression. The guillotine became a grim spectacle in Paris. Suspected enemies were denounced, arrested, and often executed. Aristocrats, priests, and ordinary citizens met their end under the blade. Robespierre justified the terror as a means of preserving the revolution. He believed terror was an instrument of virtue. However, the terror spun out of control. The French people grew weary of the bloodshed. Robespierre's allies turned against him, leading to his arrest and execution. The Reign of Terror ended, leaving a legacy of trauma and division. Out of the ashes of the French Revolution, a new figure emerged, Napoleon Bonaparte. A brilliant strategist, Napoleon rose to power, promising order and stability. In 1799, he seized power, becoming first consul of France. Napoleon centralized the government, reformed education, and created the Napoleonic Code. His ambition led to costly wars, ultimately causing his downfall. Defeated in 1814, he was exiled, but his legend endures. With political instability and colonial wars.